We're a long way from the 40 something we had once upon a time, but that's okay. Let's focus on the match at hand and let's discover what Renzo is playing. I think I saw a hint of favorable wins there. So mono blue favorable wins. Can't quite see it. I know that tilting my head doesn't help, but it's a psychological thing and you cannot judge me for it. Likes to go. Okay. So Tom taking a mulligan. Let's hope that this 6-card hand is better, and so we can get underway. I don't know why I clicked that button. Okay. Shut up. Okay, Tom keeps his opening 6 and we are on our way. Submerged Boneyard for Tom. And we have Island for Renzo. So the idea that he might be favorable wins is still alive. Yep. So we have the playlist now. Oh, it's apparently Enigma Drake. So we have Enigma Drake. Once upon a time a feared deck that also people kind of forgotten. That's the red-blue decks. Really came back with a vengeance here, bringing both Renzo on Enigma Drake and Lars on Decoction Module Virtuoso Topter Craziness into the top 8. Also have a look at what the rest is bringing to the table to bridge whatever matches we have inside the top 8 there. Yep, let's see. Okay. Cycled Hieroglyphic Illumination fills the graveyard up further. As Gifted Aetherborns are swarming the board on Tom's side. Ooh, almost spilled a bunch of water. Sensors gets cycled. And then a Braid takes a Sensor. And then a Braid takes care of one of the Gifted Aetherborns. Desert of the Mind. Tom cycling through his deck. Desert of the Mind full. And a Lurch Beast, is it? What's it called? It's not a Lurch Beast. It's a Lurching Rot Beast. Lurching Rot Beast. There we go. Another cycled Hieroglyphic Illumination for Renzo, and a cycled Desert of the Mindful as well. Very dramatic here, very dramatic, as both players are trying to develop their board, keeping up. Tom being the one putting the most pressure to the table, but Renzo should have quite a bit available to him with 4 shocks, 2 lightning strikes, 2 braids as a way to interact on the board. Not a crazy amount. It could be a lot more. You have a few versions that are a lot more burn based than what this version seems to be. Essence Scatter gets rid of another Lurching Rot Beasts. It's a sad day if you have to start Essence Scattering those little buggers. Tom adapting quite an interesting playstyle here. I think I've spotted a shock in Renzo's hand. He's limited on his red mana though. So we have a, what's his face? Cryptic Serpent, I think. Yep, Cryptic Serpent. For Renzo. So Renzo trying to stabilize the board. Tom has a Ravenous Chupacabra, but it was neutralized by a cancel. As the lifelink Death Toucher keeps coming in for damage. 6/5 Cryptic Serpent on the board for Renzo. The first Enigma Drake that he'll play will be quite influential as well. Still hurting on that red mana. He's playing 7 mountains and 4 highland lakes as his red mana sources. No evolving wilds. Oh, and we have a Liliana, Death's Majesty for Tom the Wall. That actually resolves and returns a Chupacabra that then kills the Cryptic Serpent. Renzo did play that Enigma Drake at the end of his previous turn. So that Enigma Drake is, I think, 6 or 7 power. Oh, Sweltering Heat, I think that is. Sweltering Suns cycled for Renzo. And he scoops them up, unable to deal with Tom's board position. That is after a mulligan from Tom, who is playing a deck that is a very specific metagame choice here, very much aimed at beating these control decks with a lot of ways to interact on board, and also everything that he plays can be such a formidable threat that it overloads the permission that these decks have. Okay, and we are over to sideboarding, so let's have a look at what these players will bring to the game. Well, I have to be really quiet here because I have other players in the top 8 right next to me. So Renzo has Dive Down, Magma Spray, Negate, Essence Scatter, Dual Shot, Puncturing Blow, and Soul of the Rapids. Soul is an interesting choice there. Not sure how he is going to sideboard. The Magma Spray should be interesting as he has lost to people bringing too much creatures. Well, Tom bringing too much creatures here. Negate and Essence Scatter could definitely be options for him. I don't think there's Puncturing Blow, maybe, but the question starts to become what will he be taking out for it, and that's a different proposition altogether. Now let's have a look at Tom. Tom has 3 Negate, 3 Essence Scatter, 4 Duress, 3 Scarab Feast, and 2 Final Rewards. So he gets to bring in, I guess, Duress and Negate to fight back on the stack, and before things even hit the board. Okay, so let's see how these players actually sideboard. Tom apparently does not have the sleeves available to sideboard everything all at once. In the meantime, I should try and get some more people involved. Let's go on to Facebook. Apparently somebody forgot some stuff. Facebook is spammed completely full. I'll check back later, people. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. Okay. So in the meantime, our players are ready to start game 2. Tom won game 1 after a mulligan to 6 against Renzo, who was struggling to find the tools to interact on board against Tom, who keeps dropping oversized creature after oversized creature. This is what the cycling deck can do. It's one of the plans. Yeah. So oversized creatures, you just cycle them until you have the mana against decks that just don't put pressure on you, and after that every card you play becomes a must answer, as even a Shimmer Scale Drake or a Lurching Rod Beast kills you in a short amount of turns, and that just sets you up for more late game oriented cards, or Vile Manifestation, which slips under a counter war at the beginning of the game. So there's a lot of flexibility in how you can play a deck that's chock full of cycling cards. And if you then draw your Liliana Death's Majesty whenever you need it, then things tend to go pretty well for you. Tom, as far as I know, has gone undefeated.
Quality gameplay.
Through quality gameplay, according to a anonymous spectator. Both players taking a mulligan here, so that this mulligans really favor Tom here. He has a lot more rebuild potential and card draws to sculpt his hand, to sculpt the tools he has available to them to be exactly what he needs. Dank u wel. So let's hope, I always say this, let's hope players have a good opening 6 so that they can, so that we actually have an interesting match to spectate. No, Tom going down to 5. He is on the draw though. Keep believing. I guess. In the meantime, Renzo is thinking. Mulligan down to oblivion. Let's see. 5-card hand. 2 lands, a bunch of cyclers. Come on, do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Tom decides to keep. And pushes his scry card to the bottom. Renzo also pushing to the bottom. And we are on our way. Highland Lake Desert for Tom. Renzo very much an interactive deck, very little to pressure the board early on. The only proactive things he has are 4 Enigma Drakes, 1 Bloodwater Entity, 2 Cryptic Serpents and a single Glorybringer. All the rest is draw or removal, and there's a Chandra Torch of Defiance somewhere down there as well. So a deck that Tom should be favored against, especially now that there's Duresses coming in as well. Well, we have a Vile Manifestation for him to start putting on pressure. Renzo responds with a Supreme Will, which makes it really awkward because his deck is mostly spells, so whatever he could get, gets a creature at least with it, but had to push a Chandra for that. Sweltering Suns gets kicked. I think I would have either countered the duress or not cast the Supreme Will at all there. Could have had a Chandra now. Of course, Tom has mana open and has access to negate. That Vile Manifestation is a 0/4, so incapable of putting any pressure on Renzo. Hieroglyphic Illumination digs him into some extra cards as he's further developing his mana. So he now has Glorybringer mana available, but no counter mana available for it. Tom very strongly representing both the possibility for Essence Scatter and negate the entire game already. So this is something that Renzo will have to take into account, but he decides to just go for it with his Glorybringer. Glorybringer gets Essence Scattered. And we get a Shimmer Scale Drake for Tom. So having neutralized the biggest threat now, playing a patient game and then going like, yep, now it's my turn to put on the pressure. So Renzo now playing an uphill battle, has a Cryptic Serpent, so that will pose quite a counter threat, but a final reward from Tom de Waal fixes that problem. It's a very interesting deck here from Tom de Waal, doing a lot of things that people are discouraged to do, play a lot of high cost cards, but it's the cycling that makes it worth it and lets him play a lot of high impact cards here. Let's see, Puncturing Blow did make it into the main board for Renzo. And that Shimmer Scale Drake just keeps coming in. My voice is starting to break down here in the 8th round of Gentry today. Enigma Drake, namesake card for Renzo. Think it has 4 power right now as Tom cycles a Vile Manifestation. The current one he has now does have power, so it's no longer just a wall. Cycles a Scorpion. What's the name of the Scorpion again? Wasteland Scorpion. I wonder how Tom's deck does against the aggro decks though. I think he might have been a bit lucky to dodge those, but he, like I said, it's very strongly meta-gamed against control decks. Duress takes out Puncturing Blow and sees a Shock and a Braid and a Lightning Strike. So two of those getting rid of the Shimmer Scale Drake. And now Renzo has free reign in the air with 7 power, I think, Enigma Drake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 power Enigma Drake. Pretty sizable already. It's funny how resemblant the Vile Manifestation and the Enigma Drake are here. Oof, going on the offensive. Coming in for 7, taking half of Tom's life total in a single turn by lightning striking him to the face, pumping his Enigma Drake to 7 power and coming in. Ravenous Chupacabra wrecks the dreams. As we see Renzo maybe being a bit too impatient in this matchup. But I also think that he needs to be, since Tom has a very, very strong late game, one that should be quite capable of dealing with the 6 troublesome permanents in Renzo's deck, in the Enigma Drakes and the Cryptic Serpents. 4 mana, Puncturing Blow to get rid. Blow to get rid of the Vile Manifestation, which is already threatening to get rather big, and we have a River Winder for Tom Doal. A very hard to answer card if you can't counter it before it becomes troublesome. Magma Spray takes out the Ravenous Chupacabra, but that is not what Renzo should be afraid of right now. Tom passing the turn back, to Renzo passing the turn back, and there's already the handshake. Renzo bites the dust in the top 8 here. So Tom advancing into the semi-finals. Let's adjust that already in our bracket. Where is he? There he is.